Good evening, everybody. This is Charli Ward here, and I am being joined by my dear friend, Lucy Highton. So welcome, Lucy.
Hi, Charli. Thank you for having me.
That's a real pleasure. Lucy is here to talk to us about meditation this evening. So if you have any questions or you're watching, please give us a wave, say hello. I'm doing this as a sort of mini mental health series during this month, and Lucy is a dear friend of mine who has qualified as a meditation coach. Is that right?
Yeah, meditation teacher, that's right.
So do you want to tell me a little bit about that to start with before I sort of hurtle into the questions? Tell me a little bit about how you got into meditation.
Okay, so I have been meditating. I first was introduced to meditation probably about 8 or 9 years ago, when I just happened to be passing a lovely Buddhist centre that I lived close to in London, and they were advertising for a sort of learn to meditate course. And I just felt like I needed something at that time. And I went along. I didn't really know much about meditation. I didn't really know what to expect, but I was quite curious. And I have to say, I loved it. It was like I got far more out of it than I thought I would. And it was quite powerful, just the idea of silence and allowing yourself a bit of time just to be, and the idea that actually you could just stop and connect with yourself and breathe and not have all of the craziness of the world and work and social stuff and busyness and constant chaos, that it is possible just to sit and calm yourself. So I loved it, and I took quite a bit from it, and I used to sometimes pop in there for their meditation drop-ins. And but I was quite relaxed about the whole thing and took a few things away that helped me. And then fast forwarding a little bit, as you know, Charli, but people listening probably don't. My husband then became very ill. He was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And during that time, I absolutely needed something to help keep me I don't think calm is a word I can use at that time, but calmer than I perhaps would have been. So I just pulled on some of those tiny things that I remembered that I'd learned during that Learn to Meditate course, and specifically the mindfulness aspect, that you couldn't possibly think about what's happened previously and what was coming, what might be coming. That real ability to just cling on to now, like right this second, right this moment, everything's okay. And that was really helpful. And then after Ben died 4 years ago, I felt like I needed to get away, and I went to India, which is a country that I love and I know you love too. And I went to a silent meditation retreat, and it was 10 days. And I think everyone thought I was slightly mad. I actually felt slightly not like me anyway. And it was incredible. It was profound. It was very, for me, it was the right thing at the right time. And I absolutely loved it. And I think it helped me a lot, and it gave me a lot. And yes, since then, I have progressively become more connected to meditation. And then last year, I decided that I was going to leave London and moved to Cambridge, which I happily have done. And I, towards the end of last year, did my meditation teacher training with the British School of Meditation. And now I'm just sort of in the process of setting up my own little fledgling meditation school business.
Which sounds amazing. Oh, is that sound all right? It looks, sorry, it was kind of feeding back on me. Anyway, so that's a very powerful story, Lucy. And this, as you know, these interviews that I'm doing are also going on my podcast, and my podcast is called Courage, Dear Heart. And I truly believe that we all have stories of courage and hope. And so I'd like to know what courage means for you and how it's played out for you in your life.
So actually, I have struggled quite a bit with the concept of courage. I don't know whether other people or you can identify with this, but there have been times where people tell you you're so brave, you're so courageous, and actually I've found that at times it's meant in a really lovely way when people say it, and actually I found that sometimes quite difficult because haven't felt courageous. I haven't felt like I'd chosen, at the time I didn't feel like I had chosen anything that was happening. I was just sort of in it. I didn't feel I'd put my hand up and said, I'm brave, pick me, I'll take this one. So actually I didn't feel at all courageous. I just felt like I was actually sort of maybe surviving or cracking on with it. I don't know how to put it. But actually I think with hindsight, I have had to show some courage. And I think courage actually really helps all of us. Like everyone, a lot of us, I think, struggle with the idea that we can be a little bit more courageous. And when I look back at times when I've had to be courageous or have chosen to be courageous, even in quite small ways, I think they're the times that we sort of, at the very least, learn quite a lot about ourselves and probably quite often grow as well from them.
Can you give me an example?
Well, I think at the moment I'm having to be slightly courageous, keeping it sort of in the now. I've moved to Cambridge where I know nobody, apart from your lovely self and a few other people I've met since Christmas. And I'm having to sort of have courage in myself and my ability to set up a little business and to create this new life for myself. And quite often I want to run away from that and just stay within my comfort zone. But I'm hoping, I'm hoping that being courageous worked out for me this time.
So the way I see it is that we all have innate wisdom and innate mental health, and most of us don't realize how courageous and brave we are day to day. And for me, your story is one of bravery, is one of courage. And I know how that feels when people say to you, gosh, you're so brave. You just think, yeah, I didn't ask for that.
Yeah.
But it is a sense of the deep resilience that we all have within us. And I think as women and some men probably will resonate, we're very quick to put ourselves down. But it does take courage to stand up and tell your story and move to a different town and set up a business. So, and change your career as well. Is that what you've done?
Yes. Yeah, I'm doing some freelance at the moment. So, but yes, that's the sort of hope. And actually, Charlie, you've completely echoed what I was going to say. I have, I don't mind saying, written a few little notes. And one of them says that I really believe that we've all got like courage in us and resilience in us. But actually, sometimes you don't find that until you really need it. It's there in storage for like when you need it. And we all have it in us. We just have to sometimes find different ways of discovering what our courage is.
Yeah. So like in terms of that, seeing that is innate, how have you found meditation to kind of open up that window to your courage and bravery?
So I would say probably, I wouldn't say that meditation directly would or could make someone perhaps more courageous. But what it does do, at least for me, is when we meditate, we sort of, it's often like quite an inward process. And I see it as like temporarily taking away some of our layers. So most of us are sort of, we identify ourselves, we think about jobs, we think about where we live, we think about, I don't know, marital status, whether we have children or not, what sort of earnings we might have or not have. We sort of think all of these things are our identity, and all of these things define us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think society sort of makes us feel like that. We need these labels, we need to be defined, we need to be put into boxes of what kind of category of person we are. And actually, one of the things that meditation does, and the longer you do it, the more you sort of discover this, is it actually removes some of those layers. It takes away the things we sort of think are real about ourselves, and it helps us find our sort of own innate qualities and who we really are. And I think through doing that, we sort of connect more to ourselves, and that probably in itself can make us feel courageous, because we no longer feel scared of all these things we're supposed to be, and actually we just focus a bit more on who we actually are.
I just love that. I absolutely love that, Lucy, discovering who you truly are, because I think a lot of us go around, like exactly like you just said, attached to some identity that we've created, and actually who we truly are is so much more than that. So what I sense in what you're saying is that you've caught a glimpse of who you truly are through the meditation process. Yes?
Yes, definitely. And I think you're right to say a glimpse. I'm no, I mean, people meditate for 30 years in caves in the Himalayas or whatever. I'm certainly no guru. But yes, I definitely had a glimpse of how meditation can help me, for sure. And I'm almost certain that all of us can be helped in some maybe small way, but can be helped by meditation, yes.
Okay. So you've mentioned during the course of this interview that you lost your husband, and you had, periods of time alone. What would you say to someone who has heard some bits of your story and resonated with anything that you've said?
Well, I think, everyone's journey is very different. Lots of people have had horrendous times. Lots of people have had far, far worse times than I have had. But I think there is some courage, not courage, there is some sort of wisdom in knowing that things will pass. And I think I listened to your interview last week with Margot, and I'm sure she also mentioned this, just that it's hard to hold on to that, as I'm sure you would say yourself. When times are really bad, it's hard to even believe that that's the case. But actually, I think most people that have been through some real sort of difficult times will say this will pass. I'd say that's definitely true.
Yeah.
Things get easier. That's what I would say.
Well, we kind of live in a world of change, don't we? And sometimes it's thrust upon us, and sometimes it's just like a drip, drip, drip effect. But moment to moment, we just don't know what's coming. So
that's really true, Charli. So that's a good thing as well about meditation, I suppose, is that living in the present, just being in the now. Like, everything that's happened has happened. We definitely don't know what might happen tomorrow or next week or next year, any of us, however much we think we probably can control it. I'm not sure how much we really can. So yeah, the power of now is good too.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think a lot of anxiety is created around trying to predict the future so that we're in the known, but everything is unknown. Everything is unknown. Like this interview, we set this up. We have no idea how it's going to go, right? But we're just going.
I think it was yours.
It was.
And it's wonderful. So yes, you're right, that we can't control, we don't know, but we can probably just find little tricks that can help us like deal with whatever gets thrown our way, I suppose. And what you're doing is really lovely. All of your huge online community that you have, connecting people and supporting people, especially women, supporting women. You do a huge amount of that, but also for men too, who have a real tough time of it, and perhaps sometimes a bit less support, a bit less peer support. But maybe that's what we just need to do. Maybe look after each other a bit more.
Yeah, I really believe in the power of connection. Do you work with men and women?
Yes. Actually, I was thinking this earlier. I've been looking at the people that have signed up or sent inquiries to me about meditation, and I'm really impressed by the amount of men there have been. So I'm really pleased to see that. It's definitely 50-50. Yes, I'm happy with that.
So you've got an event coming up this Sunday, I understand. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I've got a meditation taster session this Sunday in Cambridge, which is just an hour long. So quite a lot of people say, oh, I don't really know much about meditation. Like, what is it? What do I have to do? Like, will I be able to do it? So for those people, or indeed anyone that's done a bit before and just wants to come along and see how I run my classes, it's just an hour. So hopefully people might just try something new, give it a try. So that's this Sunday.
And where is it?
It's in a lovely little place called Bodywise Studio, which is off Mill Road in Cambridge, and it's at 6:30.
Okay, so it's off Mill Road at a studio called Bodywise in Cambridge this Sunday, 6:30, and that's the taster session, yes?
That's right, yes. So open to anyone that wants to come, but it'd be great to just let me know you're coming, so I know numbers.
So we'll put your details under this interview, but I know one of the girls in the group asked a question, so I'm just going to read it out. Gemma says, I have ADHD and struggle to meditate unless I'm listening to a guided one. Any tips? Am I failing at meditation?
Oh, that's a great question. Definitely, nobody ever fails at, well, many things. Nobody ever fails at anything, but certainly not at meditation. There isn't any, like, the thing about meditation, actually.
Sorry. Sorry, that was completely my fault. It came up on my other phone. Carry on, Lucy. Sorry.
I think, was it Gemma, sorry, that asked that question?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So I think the whole concept really of meditation is non-striving. So we're not trying to be anyone, we're not trying to go anywhere, we're not trying to achieve anything. It's very much like a inward journey, actually. So I would say it's great that Gemma's found guided meditation, and if that works for her, then that's brilliant. And if that helps her and that's the right kind of meditation for her, then I hope she just feels happy she's found that. And actually maybe she has, I don't know where Gemma lives, but hopefully she's got meditation's becoming a lot more popular. So hopefully she can find like a local group or a local teacher that maybe she can go to some guided meditations, like together with a group, because it's quite a nice energy in a group meditation. I'm sure you've done them, Charli, and just found the really nice energy from a group. So that's good, but definitely she hasn't failed. There's loads of types of meditation, and it's just good to find something that works for you.
Yeah, I'm meditation.
Okay, that's really interesting. Do you do it yourself, or do you only do that if you're in a group?
No, I do it myself. I do it twice a day.
Do you? Around your house or in Cambridge?
Well, wherever I'm living at the time, wherever I'm based, I go for a walk, and I'm usually in nature, and I really focus in on the moment that I'm in, because I think, like you alluded to in the beginning, I have had, like I had years of stress, as you know, but just a very, very busy mind, anxious mind. And what I found, the meditation for me, I would try and sit and I'd just be like, like this monkey on my back. And then I didn't want to start slagging myself off for not being able to do it properly, or like Gemma's thinking she's failing. So I thought, well, for me, walking and being in nature does the same thing. But because I've been able to do that, it's actually enabled me to get a sense of that peace and that quiet. So I can now sit and do it. But I needed to do something that worked for me to enable me to feel that sort of energetic shift from monkey on my back to being very present. So I do genuinely believe, like, in the power of going inward. There's a real gift there.
I love that example, Charli, of the monkey on your back. And that's great. And that's how our minds are. But that's what sort of modern life does to us. Like, there's so much going on and it's busy, and you've had a very stressful time, a very busy time. So that's, our minds are like that. So it takes a while, I think, of connecting to meditation to really sort of maybe find your right route, the way that works for you. So that's great that you found that. And I love that you do walking meditation every day. I haven't realised that.
Yeah. So I'm going to come along to your event on Sunday, and it's in Cambridge. So I know that for people locally, that will be good. But if there are lots of people watching this who want to get in touch with you about meditation, and I'm sure that you do it online, do you as well? Yeah. How can they reach you? What's your email and what's your web address?
So I'll give you my website address, is probably easiest. It's whitelotusmeditation.co.uk. So just go onto the website. There's details on there. I've got some more classes coming up in June and later in the year, and I do one-to-ones. Happy to just have questions from anyone as well. That would be lovely.
Yeah, well, I think my thing's broken on here, and I went to go on to see if there were any questions, and it popped up. So I don't want to risk that again. However, what I encourage people to do is write their questions, and then you can come back after we finish this podcast and answer them, or we can set up another time for another chat.
That would be lovely. I look forward to questions. And it's been lovely to talk to you, Charli, and especially about meditation. So thank you for having me.
Oh,
and I look forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Yeah, what time is it? 6:30. Yeah, we said that 3 times.
I'll remind you before.
Well, I love you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's been lovely. Thank you for looking after me.
It's a pleasure.
Have a lovely evening.
I'll talk to you very soon. Lots of love.
Bye.